them being, how do I look less fat on camera? It's a trick here. It's called top-down angle. See, if this camera was about 14 inches lower, then you can see what's hidden underneath this beard. So that's something that we avoid. So listen, that's the first question we're going to answer for that. Secondly, I want to talk about my background with y'all real quick. I started in competitive gaming. So a lot of people don't know that because I'm the funny guy on the internet at this point. But your boy kicked it off back in the day, trying to go to tournaments when I was like 12 years old. Ironically, the first one I went to, I was 12, right? So like I didn't even know how the process went. Second one I went to, I won, and you'll never guess how much money I won because when you look at it in retrospect compared to the tournament winnings that you're getting today, it was $150. And let's just say 14-year-old me getting ready to finish eighth grade was very excited about the trip to Wally World to get some delicious candy and $150 of it, and put on an extra 38 pounds before my freshman year started of football when I got a reality check and lost all that weight in 2 months running track every day. Anyways, that was it. So competitive. Then high school kind of got me through it. I was doing like the whole esports thing and vibing out. I see AWOLs in chat, by the way, said, who's your favorite IRL friend to play with? Listen, man, I mean, I'm just going to say, like, you might have been the duo that I won that first tournament we're talking about with all that cash, bro. So I think you obviously know it's Anthony Walter. He's located in Kansas City. Just thought I'd just display all of your info on deck. But high school goes through, right? I started to realize, like, you know what? I want to start going to these big tournaments. So I started traveling, started going to events all across the United States. My first one was in Orlando, Florida. And yeah, so if you guys are just tuning into the broadcast, listen, we're doing a creator diary today. So we're doing some outlining on my career coming up into the scene. For those of you who don't know, I've been a professional streamer, content creator for 9 years. I've been blessed to do it for that long. I am beyond excited for the fact that I get to do cool stuff like this because you guys and people in general just come watch my content, which is insane to me that anybody cares. That I exist on the internet. I think it's one of those things where it's humbling every time somebody recognizes you in public or somebody, shouts you out on social media. Or my favorite is when you get randomly tagged with one of your sounds on TikTok and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this has made the rounds where people are listening to this at a bonfire somewhere when it comes to making music. My mom's in chat. Love to see that. Izzy said P-Wall, Paul Wall, or Pink Wall? You know what I'm saying? Which one? You know what I'm saying? We had a journey with the Pink Wall gang back in the day. So that was one of our first big creator teams that we ever brought to events. But yeah, I mean, we had a high school era coming through, going to those events. And then what I realized when I was about 19 or 20 is that I was wasting a lot of money traveling and going to events. And so, every time I come home, my mom would be like, hey, did you win any money? And it was like, no. I didn't. I didn't win any money, but what I did was network, and I kept networking, and that was my excuse now for why I kept not winning any money. But I realized basically that there was kind of just like a whole content world, so I got into it, just doing like comedy sketches and skits on the channel. Eventually got into making gaming content. I thought it was a pretty easy transition. I didn't realize that you could just be funny and play video games. Like I said, because I came from a competitive background. So by the time I got into making content, I was like, wow, this is way easier than sweating and blowing all my cash. So just started putting out videos, blew up randomly as it can possibly get. And then from then forward, we've just been rolling. So that would have been back in 2013, about February or March of 2013. So we're coming up on 9 years. December 13th is when I quit working retail, 2013. So that would have been 9 years ago, which is crazy. Yeah. Other than that, inspiration coming up. I mean, I had a lot of people that I looked up to in the scene. Like when I first came into it, I'm 29 years old. When I first came into it, it was kind of a budding industry. Like there wasn't really a whole lot of people making a living doing content and doing video game content in general. It was kind of like a very small selection of people. That was back in the day when people had the sub for sub glitches on their on their YouTube channels where you could subscribe to one person that was subscribing to everybody. That was kind of how people were coming up back in the day. But but yeah, I mean, I always looked up to people that were competitive. Like Walshy was a pro Halo player from back in the day. That dude was an inspiration, super nice guy, ended up becoming one of my friends as I got older. And just like the whole like esports experience, and then also just like a lot of the sketch comedy groups that were really popular, like in the early 2010s. I was like, wow, this is something I think would be fun to do. And a lot of those guys ended up going on to do really big things on like SNL and other platforms that are massive. So I thought, oh, well, if they can do it, maybe there's a chance that I can do that. But you know, it's just crazy to me that it's been this long. So first videos, by the way, I was looking back for this specifically at some of the first videos that we had ever done on my YouTube channel, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The quality, you got to think about this back then. We're using a laptop. We were doing laptop broadcasts through like, I don't even know what level P those webcams were, okay, but they're like 140p, 280p, like what, it was just terrible quality. And I was looking back at those compared to now, where we're using the Nikon Z30, and you know, we've got cameras specifically designed for streamers and content creators like the Z30, this bad boy right here, which is what I gotta go to New York for, the Creator House, to check out and peep. And it's just crazy to me to see like where we've come technology wise to like where we were at one point. But yeah, those older quality videos were absolutely horrendous. And then, you know, looking at like what my first successful video was, it's crazy. The things that you would not expect to blow up can blow up for your channel. I mean, I remember back in the day, you know, short form factor was fine on YouTube in the beginning. There wasn't really like an algorithm that was trying to tease you into doing long form or shorts or any of that. It's like you could pretty much upload anything, and if you had subscribers, it would go to their box and they'd watch it. And you know, all those vlogs that I did while working retail ended up popping off, which was really cool. So just thinking, the fact that I was working somewhere and then recording content like when I was probably should have been working, and that being one of the escalation points in my career is like absolutely insane. Brad, I do remember meeting you, by the way. I'm not gonna lie, I remember meeting you while we were at the arcade. That was pretty wild. Good question. In chat, Eric Wilson said, "What would you be doing if you weren't streaming?" Listen, Explodey, I'm telling you right now, brother. I don't know. I think that's probably the answer that a lot of content creators are going to give you, if they're honest. A lot of people, they want to like assert some sort of confidence about, you know, their certainty and how they were going to make it in the scene. I really don't feel like, you know, anybody's got that level of energy and actuality. I think if I wasn't doing this, you know, hey, wherever God puts me elsewhere, right? Like if I was going to be working as a teacher, or if I was going to be working in a magazine. Originally I was going to school to get a degree in film and in English. So whatever you get with that, everyone made fun of me for that degree, but whatever. I never finished, for the record. I should have. Mom, I know you're in chat. Listen, I'm never going back, hopefully. Vahography said, Nikon Z30 seems interesting, waiting for your creator kit. Listen, this camera is a lot of fun. So one of the things that I like most about this is just its ease and accessibility for hooking it up for live streaming in general. One of the biggest problems that you see with like DSLR cameras and cameras for creator kits, a lot of times whenever you have people trying to run that instead of a webcam, which by the way, if you're still running a webcam, I highly recommend checking out the Z30 and upgrading to a camera. You know, you have to buy like a dummy battery kit. You have to buy all this extra equipment that's really kind of unnecessary. But this camera, you run it through USB-C to USB-C. You could run it. I tested it through a wall outlet, so I had just a USB-C wall outlet to run it through when I was in a hotel because I was out of ports on my computer. Otherwise, it just plugs straight into the computer. You run HDMI out, micro HDMI through a capture device, boom, plug it into your USB on your computer. You're literally good to go. So I don't know if any of you caught the live stream over on my channel, but we actually used the Nikon Z30 and streamed from a hotel room. Blessed that the internet held up perfectly. But the funniest part was I had somebody literally going, "Why does it look as good as when you're at home?" And I'm like, because I brought the right equipment to make that happen. Andrew Stasiulis said, "What's your favorite game to stream?" Hey, listen, great question. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I love to stream Call of Duty. I've been having a ton of fun streaming Fall Guys lately. Very PG game, very fun. I don't know if any of you caught that stream with Courage JD and I, but we literally dropped 100 wins in 1 week, and it was like 35 hours of streaming. Destroyed my body Thank God I have a comfortable chair. When you're sitting there, listen, when you hit like win 65 for the weekend, like you start to kind of lose it a little bit. Nick fan though had a question, said, how do you manage to stay creative? Listen, this is one of those things that I feel like as you get older, can become harder. I think it's one of those things that you have to remember that you're creating content for an audience. So I feel like for me, it's one of those things where when it comes to creative inspiration, I kind of just try to vibe out. Like I said, the older you get, the more stresses you get. There's certain things in life get a little bit harder. So I try to find ways to just enjoy myself. I also like to just go out in public and just kind of ingest what's going on in the world, because you see so many things and hear so many things that can create creative, hilarious, comedic content. Like, is insane. Mosman said, I heard you're going to be giving away some 50% off coupon for Z lenses. Mosman, I see what you did there. I see the bait. And I did not tweet that. I don't think Nikon did either. I appreciate it. But yeah, when it comes to creativity, I mean, it's just basically, trying to keep it going, making sure that you're trying to focus on having fun and doing lighthearted content. If you're doing serious informational content, obviously looking to others all the time. There's so many people in the content space now compared to where we were 9 or 10 years ago when I was starting versus now is insane. So just to put things into perspective, at one point I had 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that was I was the 256th largest channel on YouTube. And if you look at today, I've got about 720,000 ish. That's like 26,000th, I think, in the world. So just looking at in terms of saturation in a field on what you've seen from the beginning to now is insane. Which I think is cool that there are so many people that can create content, do it for a living, and absolutely do what they love and do it as a job, which is insane. Like I said, I've been blessed to do this for such a long time now that it's ridiculous. Cheese Father, so what kind of camera do you use? Cheese, I think you know why we're here. You know what I'm saying? It's sitting right here. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 of these bad boys. I come strapped with the Nikon Z30s. You know what I'm saying? I honestly, and this is up to Nikon. I'm not trying to be weird, but if they want to send me one to make a chain necklace out of, you know what I'm saying? We get some gold chains, start rocking the camera, and we'll get it going there. Nikon, hey, it's up to you guys. Listen, it's King said, what do you think the future holds? And how did you and Kylie meet? So listen, my lady and I met in the funniest way possible as a gamer, and it's one that I feel like you guys are going to laugh at. She actually owned a video game center at one point, and I met her there because I was trying to run tournaments. So when I was talking about networking earlier, video games as an industry has exploded, especially over the course of the last 5 years. Fortnite was kind of the entry level for that. But like 7-8 years ago, like it was still big, but it was at the point where there was a lot of grassroots events still going on, and that was like a really great way to network. It's still the same way now. I mean, you guys have events going on in your cities that you don't even know, like because either their advertisement's bad or you got to be researching it yourself. It's one of those things where you check it out. There's stuff going all the time for people who are really big as creators and content creators. There's meetups and stuff like that. Make sure they're legit if they're being facilitated. Photography, yeah. Listen, hey, go crazy with it. I love what I love about getting into cameras and being able to be partnered with Nikon is just the almost just like the addicted community that I see interacting with their posts is like absolutely out of this world. Like there are people that literally live, breathe, and eat Nikon. So when I see that level of hype coming in, where you're coming to the broadcast just to chill because it's a Nikon posted stream, is like absolutely insane. And I love to see it. Tonino, good to see you. Welcome to the broadcast. Listen, favorite features on this camera though. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. Number one, thing is lightweight, right? Obviously, I've got this extra cool little bonus attachment on the bottom from Small Rig, but I like to hold it like this, so I look like your mom at Christmas time with the phone. Hold still, Donnie. We're gonna get a couple great pics of you. But seriously, you take this thing off. This thing is extremely lightweight. I love how easy the interface is on this camera, particularly if you're trying to change your settings on it. You just have that little I button. You want to shoot in 4K 30. You want to do 1080 60. You want to do slow motion in 1080p 120. Honestly, it just does everything with ease. Also, this little thing right here. I'm actually out of batteries because we were shooting a sponsored piece last night for another company, which is hilarious. But there's a tiny light that's up here on the camera that actually goes off when you're recording. So if you're doing selfie mode, you can actually still know when you're recording and not do what I've done for half of my career, which is accidentally not be recording and then have wasted quite literally hours of my time. Besides that, I mean, the autofocus on this thing is wild. I love how good it is, especially for live broadcasting. It does a great job of focusing on me and not the background. And if I get real close to it, it'll do the same thing. It focuses on me and or the background if I'm not in the chair, which is spectacular. So overall, this camera's lit. Also, love the thing. This is full rotational, so that way I can, you know, look at you, looking at me. This is literally, like I said, it's Nikonception. Overall, it's a great camera. I love that the price point is literally fit for streamers. I feel like one of the biggest issues that people have with transitioning from a webcam to a camera is that they get intimidated by the technology. They think that it's something that's too difficult to kind of adjust to or like get adjusted to. It is not. Like I said earlier, you need USB-C cable, a capture device, an HDMI cable, and it straight up, you know, put it on a tripod, put it on your desk, put it on one of these small rigs, boom, plug it straight into your PC, you're good to go. The quality difference is literally, I'm getting ready to put out a video. I'm getting ready to put out a video that shows you the direct difference between a webcam and what this camera can do, and it is literally absurd. Mosman said, curious if you're into photography at all, or if you're just using gear to facilitate streaming. So, Mosman, I shoot like a lot of real life content as well, but mostly like short form factor videos. That's another reason why I like this camera. It's lightweight. It doesn't feel like it's hard to adjust from using like you know, your cell phone camera to using this camera. And for me, it's like I don't really do a ton of photography, but we do a lot of videography. And like I said, the low light on this thing is great because, like as I mentioned, I was streaming in that hotel. We're shooting content in these areas where there's not propped up studio lighting like in here. I've got two key lights in here that shine on me directly, but literally half the stuff that you're getting ready to see me put out with Nikon, I've shot in my dining room with incandescent bulbs above me, and it still looks really, really good, which is like honestly shocking, especially because it's sub $1,000 for the camera, which is insane, at least in US. So Cody, yeah, Kylie said, do you have a favorite event you've been to as a gamer, and who is your favorite person that you've been able to interact with ever? Well, I got to do a live stream with Post Malone. That was really, really cool. So it's me, Post Malone, David Vonderhaar. We got to do a live broadcast together. And I had an absolute ton of fun getting to do that. I'd probably say he was probably my favorite person to meet. Favorite event I've ever been to? We got to go to the reveal of a new video game in England. It was a racing game. And they brought us to this world famous like racetrack, essentially, where we got to go ride in rally cars with like Tanner Faust and like go through a simulated Seasons Wood. They had hot air balloons. I got to ride in a McLaren. It was like the most insane. It was like the most insane day of my life. Actually, it would have been a good day to have a Nikon Z30 for that. All right, Mom. See you later. Thanks for tuning in. Craig says, I love that Nikon offers different screens in the lineup for different purposes. Yeah, Flippy for content. Z9's awesome. Two-way tilt for photography. Craig, yes. I mean, like I'm saying, like Nikon kills it. They also really understand. They've been really understanding with me as a creator in terms of my feedback for the Z30 for streamers and both content creators, which I typically companies don't really, they'll like hear what you say and then they don't really listen to it, but they've been like very serious about my feedback, which has been phenomenal. So you need to talk to them and just chat with them about, you know, things that and questions that I have regarding the Z30 have been great. They've been incredible for feedback. And I'm one of those guys that, you know, I love learning new technology, and this Z30 was so easy for me to switch to from as a primary, you know, weapon of choice for streaming and videography that I don't know, it's pretty seamless to switch over to it. How do I plan content for my channels? Listen, this is for anybody out there who's streaming, who does content creation, for anybody that's maybe aspiring to do it full time. I mean, listen, the best way that you can do it is get as organized as possible. Consistency is unbelievably important. Making sure that you're, even if it's once a week, okay, it doesn't matter what it is, but you have to give your audience the ability to know when you're going to be live. So this month, one thing I want to do in particular, because we had a big month, we're doing this. We're doing the stream with Nikon, which is, like I said, incredible. It's a blessing. I've got tournaments, all that kind of stuff planned. I try to lay out kind of like a calendar so that way viewers know when I'm going to be doing stuff so that they can come attend. So consistency doesn't matter how much it is or what it is, but just try to keep it consistent in terms of timing. And then for me, Kylie works with me as well. So she helps a lot of the time with social posts while I'm doing like live broadcasts. And then I've got a video editor for my YouTube content that does the full frame YouTube, and I've got like a thumbnail guy. So the more you get into it, the more you start to kind of organize and realize, like, if you can assemble a team, from the bottom up that you can trust, it's incredible. It's literally a lifesaver. But literally for the first 4 or 5 years, I mean, it was just a one-man show. I mean, I'm talking, I was event hopping, going from event to event, shooting content with whoever, networking as much as possible. When you get to a point where you feel a little more established, you can kind of be a little bit more stagnant and stay at home and kind of focus on the streaming aspect of it. But a lot of this industry is just trying to be as involved as possible with anybody that you can collab with. I mean, same thing goes with streaming or content creation. Originally, I was strictly pretty much a YouTuber who did streams on occasion. I'm more of a full-time streamer now than I am just doing recorded content. So the streams that I do get broken down into videos, and then you create specific videos as well that are just content that will lie for long form factor. But yeah, I mean, Joey said, what's your go-to lens for everyday use? I mean, I'm using the stock lens that comes with this, and it looks just fine. For you got some big bad boys out there, you're a professional photographer, you've got multiple Nikon lenses. I mean, hook them up in this thing and get it going. I would love to see what the Z30 looks like with one of those giant, mega, huge lenses. What we need to do, Nikon, is we need to get a shot of me in an open field from like a half a mile away to just zoom in and just goes crazy. Eric said, advice for content creation with a very busy lifestyle. Listen, Eric, this is a great question. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. You've got to do as much as you can do where you're keeping it fun and creative for yourself. I feel like one of the biggest things that I see quickly is burnout. I think people get burnt out in content. One of the things that I've always inspired to do is just like not let myself get to a point where that happens. I think one, you kind of have to see yourself in a lot grounded of a way, in a humble way, which is that like I could be doing something else and I don't want to be doing something else. So I mean, having that mentality going into it, creating content is extremely important as well, because it helps like, man, I could have been doing any other job on the planet, but I'm literally blessed to sit here, play video games for a living, stream, create content, do Nikon partnered streams, all that stuff. So, I mean, for me, I think you just got to find the perfect level, that perfect bubble where you can create content, still do your work life, still do your school life. And then eventually, like I did, I kept the job. I was going to school full time, working 25 to 30 hours a week, retail. And as my YouTube career started to kind of go upwards, I waited until I knew that I was going to be financially stable enough to not have to work a normal job. Photography, yeah, hit me up with that Z800 millimeter. Come on, hit me with that thing. Photography's got it. I'm telling you. But yeah, I think it's important to just try to find a balance for yourself. So I'm pretty excited that we get to do this kind of stuff. I mean, it's literally insane to me that we get to work with Nikon and I get to do these kinds of live broadcasts. I think if you look back at who I was at 19 years old, I would definitely not have thought that this would be something that was possible to do. But it is. So it's been so much fun. The Z30 in general, getting to be a part of the launch of it, being featured on their website, was bonkers. That was crazy. Just to get to go to that creator house and be around like-minded people is something that's very important. I feel like that's another thing too. We've mentioned networking before, but a lot of the times, there's a lot of these groups that will go viral or will start producing this high-level content that simply just, know each other from college. You met each other in college, you're like-minded. Trying to surround yourself with like-minded individuals is pretty much the best way to deem success for yourself. I feel like you want people to be on the same track as you. I know that was like, I remember kind of just sitting one day and like looking around at like some of the, and I was like, man, this is crazy. Like all these dudes are trying to grind this out in the same way that I am and then get to the same place that I am. But yeah, so listen, I want to shout out everybody that's tuned into this broadcast right now. If you came over to kick it here on the Nikon USA channel, ask some questions. I appreciate everybody that came in. Listen, you can come check me out. I'm on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. I'm everywhere. It's LEGIQ, and I made the name when I was 14 years old. Unfortunately, you just don't change the moniker once it's already taken off. But the last piece of thing I want to talk to you guys just for a second is you can do it. I don't care what anybody says. If I've made it, I'm a dude from the Midwest. I don't come from a background with money. I've got a great family. They were very supportive. A lot of people, if you don't have that, I've seen people make it out from any state of life that they've been in when it comes to content creation and streaming. So keep grinding. Don't give up. Remember to be smart about it, though. That networking is key. And most importantly, you've got to have fun, yo. Have fun. That's what we do every day on our channels. That's what we're doing here on the Nikon channel. And on that note, I think I'm gonna disappear like that meme with the dude with the peace signs, where he eventually just kind of fades out. Can we get some heart spam in the chat if anybody's there? Like just with the heart ready to rumble. Can we just get some heart spam in the chat, please, while we dip out? I'll catch you guys later. I'm gonna be rocking a tournament later today, so I appreciate y'all coming to kick it. Yeah.